Hello friends, my name is Sergeant Host Eric and this is Lieutenant Rachel, and we are proud to protect and serve as members of the Type Police. Try as you might, you just can't hide, 'cause you're mistyped, and I've been waiting to pull you over all night. Type Police, Type Police, please pull that guy over. He says he's INFP, but seems extroverted, sensing to me. I think he's ESFP, or Type Police. Now in our last episode of Type Police, we pulled over Melissa Talks, and we let her go. But we decided in this instance to take a look at a self-professed INFP. And if in fact he turns out to be an INFP, we could perhaps see some nice differentiation between actual extroverted intuition and the behavior / display / affect that Michelle Talks displayed. So who are we going to Type Police today? Who did we pull over? This guy. What's his name? It's Michael Simone. And this video is called 18 Signs You're an INFP. 18 signs is a good sign to start off with because it shows he came up with 18 different signs. So let's take a look at him.
Hesitate between two profiles if you're reading certain traits in your INFP profile, but it doesn't really fit you. And it will sum up as well the common struggles that INFPs might have when they try to type themselves. So if it sounds good for you, let's dive in. Hey, I'm Michael, welcome on my channel. As an INFP, I share every week tips and all my discoveries about overcoming your challenges, live a better life. So if you want to be a part of that, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a video every week. Okay, let's dive in. So as I've said, maybe over the past 3 weeks, I've been researching about the MBTI personality types, and I've discovered, 3 weeks ago that I was.
Okay, so right off the bat, we can say this guy has concluded he's INFP, but at this point anyway, now he has an updated version of this video, but at this point anyway, he's just a baby in terms of the field. So he may very well have gotten his type right or wrong, we don't know, but his operating under the assumption that it's right is probably somewhat premature. But let's see what he has to say. I think it's relevant that he's giving us this preface though about his own experience coming into this stuff, that took sort of SI third.
An INFP, and I've been doing a lot of research about it, and I was hesitating a lot, and I had to research and to dig deep into all the cognitive functions, all the different profiles, because I hesitated between different profiles. So I just want to share with you all the information that I gathered, and if it can save you some time, it will be great. So the first point, if you already done some research, you might be familiar with this, is that as an INFP, we are idealists. We have deep personal value, and it's because of our primary function, which is introverted feeling, FI. So it's, we really...
Okay, so let's see where he goes with this. He's going to explain his understanding of FI, and I'm going to be looking out for amounts of repetition versus genuine procession of different ideas. And we'll see how this compares up against Melissa Talks.
Constantly thinking about what's right for us. We have an internal compass about moral and our values. So that's why INFPs are usually very interested in psychology or in ethics. The second point is that we are usually seekers. We are wanderers. We have no clear plan. We are always looking for something into our lives, and it's very true for me, and it's because of our secondary function, which is extroverted intuition, NE. So we are already looking for new ways to explore, to experiment new things. So it can be as simple as trying new looks, trying new haircuts, or going traveling on another country, doing some new experiences. The third point is that INFPs are looking for meaning in everything, because they have...
Okay, so far, one of the differences I'd point out is this guy's NI is much more on point than Melissa Talks was, which is to say, he's not just repeating himself, he's saying what he has to say and then moving on to the next point. So he's doing a better job of managing the procession of ideas, which is not necessarily going to be an inherent strength of the ENTPs, granted, but which I would expect an ENTP to manage a little bit better than perhaps Melissa Talks did. Now, so far, what he described as extroverted intuition sounded like extroverted sensing to me, or at least an extroverted sensing framed version of extroverted intuition, going to different places, having new experiences, etc. That didn't really sound like ideation. But let's give this guy some more time to explain how he links to the personality description and see what we turn up.
Have deep personal values. They want to feel something in everything they do. That's why they won't like to do a job that is very repetitive. The fourth point, just looking at my notes here because I don't want to forget anything. Yeah, the fourth point is that we like to write things. It's easier to express something by writing it instead of just talking. You might be familiar with this experience when you try to explain something, but you just lose yourself in your own explanation. It doesn't make any sense. And usually you're more comfortable when you have the time to organize your thoughts, and that's why you might have... It doesn't mean you're very good at writing essays or poems or a novel, but it just means that you're more comfortable when you try to communicate over text, by writing something. Point number 5.
Thoughts?
I was wondering if he had a list of things and was going to use a list compared to Melissa Talks, who doesn't use one.
Well, she did use one in that myths video.
Oh, okay.
Or sort of a list. She had a set of myths, but well, okay. So yeah, he's working off of a list, which is helping to constrain him somewhat. And what he's saying here is he needs to be constrained by some sort of written down thing, or else he'll get lost in his own explanations. So it would seem to me he may be exemplifying good demonstrative NI here. What he was just doing right there, that sort of tangential stuff, was indicative of actual extroverted intuition. That somewhat irrelevant tangent he just went on. Let's give him a little more chance here. Let's go to you're not a finisher.
Finishers. We are very good at starting projects because we function with creativity, with passion, with emotion, and so we are very enthusiastic when we start a new project. But because of our tendency to explore, we can be very distracted by new shiny objects. So we are not known to be project finishers, but project starters. Okay, number 9. And now I will be talking about more delicate issues, more like points where you might be not sure, and that's what I found by doing more research. So number 9 is that INFP might struggle because they feel that they are pretty logic. So that's why they might confuse themselves with other types, more thinking type like INTP. But because the extroverted thinking, TE, is our inferior function, we are very capable of using it. And what I found by researching is that often INFPs will first start in their lives by being attracted to logic and by being good at math, science, and or physics. And so it's not because you started your life by being attracted to logic that you're not an INFP. And sometimes it can be the case. Like for me, I was a mechanical engineer and I was very good at school in math, science. So that's why I hesitated at first, because I thought I might be more of a thinking type and a logic type. The number 10 is that you probably feel like you think too much. And the phrasing here is important because you feel like you're thinking too much. And it's my case as well, and I've researched and I found that many INFPs that think that are actually feelers. Because thinking all the time does not mean that you're using a thinking function. It just means that when you say you're thinking all the time, it just means that you're already always assessing how you feel.
This is good analysis. This is good analysis. This is extroverted intuition here, I think, in my opinion. He's done a good job of editing it down to highlight the NI points and to chapter it and to edit himself so he doesn't ramble on too much. But he can't help but include at least some of the tangential stuff, and it feels just like real extroverted intuition feels. It's also a lot more insightful.
It is very insightful. And he's able to use adjectives to describe an INFP extremely easily.
Yeah.
So...
And this thing he's describing here is a phenomenon I've encountered before with FI users. They are thinking about things all the time. It's just that they're not necessarily thinking about the logic of communications per se, right? So let's give this guy a little bit more time, but I have a very strong feeling we're going to end up letting this guy go.
Does it feel right to you? Does it align on your values? So it's not a thinking function. So if you feel like you're thinking all the time, there is a good chance that you might be an INFP. Number 11, you probably struggle with this because INFPs are supposed to be good-hearted, but you might struggle with that. And the common thought that an INFP will have is that he would not consider himself as good-hearted because he feels like he's not good-hearted enough. But by feeling that, it's actually proving that INFPs are good-hearted because they would like to be more good-hearted. So that's the point. Number 12, I've done some research on it, and it's that INFPs often doubt their type and often spend a lot of time researching it. And it's actually pretty coherent because we are always assessing if what we are doing is aligned with our values. And it's exactly that. Like, is this personality type of the MBTI system right for me? Is it the right fit for me? Does it feel right? So you're constantly assessing, and wondering about that. So if you're really interested in your type, and if you're really hesitating and frustrated, there is a good chance that you might be an INFP. Number 13 is the creativity part. When I first read that, I completely disagree with it because I was a mechanical engineer, so I was kind of focused on logic and thinking. But what I found is that INFPs can be very creative, but also can be very unaware that they are creative and that they crave it. So what happened for me is that when I started to ask myself the question, actually it's not like creativity should be natural to you. It's more like you crave it and you might be unaware of it. So I hope this helps, because this one really helped me to realize that.
What do you think about that, Rachel?
Actually kind of confused me a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think we'd expect an INFP to recognize their own ideational miggity-meows as creativity, but perhaps not. So maybe what this guy is saying when he means he's craving creativity is that he wants to apply himself creatively to something specific. I don't know. I also am curious about this chapter of coming here. Let's take a look at this one, which says, you're empathetic by mirroring, not absorbing. That seems wrong.
Right, because I think that I mirror, but that's because of my second slot FE.
Right. Alright, let's take a look.
I struggled with that one because I was finding myself very capable of empathy, but there are several types of empathy. And for INFPs, it's more you will be much more able to relate to someone if you've already lived the experience. So it's not like INFJ who can absorb emotions and really feel at the same time. For INFPs, we have to be in the other person's shoes, you know, and it can be really the case when we already lived the experience. We can really easily relate to that feeling, to that person.
Okay, well,
that's why we are usually very sensitive to music, to TV shows, to books, and sometimes we can feel very emotional for no real reason, for a small detail in a movie or in music, because it might remind you of something, or because the character in the movie is living something that you lived, and not because he's showing a lot of emotion, but because you know what he's been through, and you're just showing empathy through.
Okay, so that's interesting, and I think appropriate for INFP.
Yep.
He phrased it weird in the chapter title, but I think that's absolutely what I'd expected INFP to say, is that they need some common ground to relate. They try to put themselves in the other person's shoes,
yes.
which is very much an FI modality. And he doesn't seem like an ISFP. It seems like when he says, and that's the point, it's almost like he's reminding himself to be concise. You know, he doesn't seem like an ISFP to me. He does seem like an FI Dom,
Yes.
and not like an ENFP. So I feel pretty comfortable letting him go.
Yeah, I do too.
And I hope that even though he didn't go on a lot of huge any tangents, that you can see the distinction between actual extroverted intuition, or an actual intuitive, basically, and Melissa Talks, which was not demonstrative of the same kind of engagement with the ideas, right? She was just repeating things she had learned someplace.
Yes.
Okay, so let's play the outro song, and then we'll call it a Tuesday, as they say in America. I'll post this one tomorrow. And so, be out there looking forward to that, everybody. It's coming out tomorrow. Try as you might, you just can't hide, 'cause you're mistyped. And I've been waiting to pull you over all night. Type police, type police. Please pull that guy over. He says he's INTP, but seems extroverted sensing to me. I think he's ESFP or type police. Have a great evening, and stay on the right side of typological law.